I wasn't looking to find anything. It was just a normal Tuesday night, and we were both doing our usual routine. Selena was upstairs, pulling her hair into a high bun and dabbing perfume behind her ears, humming along to some Spotify playlist while getting ready for a gallery mixer with her coworkers. I was in the living room, folding laundry and trying not to feel too tired after work. She poked her head over the stair railing and asked if I could grab her phone charger from her gym bag by the door. No problem, I said. I picked up the bag, unzipped the main compartment, and spotted the charger tangled up with a sports bra and a half-empty pack of gum. But when I went to zip it back up, a folded slip of paper sticking out from the side pocket caught my eye. It was glossy and stiff, not a receipt from the gas station or grocery store. I don't know why I opened it. Maybe because it was tucked away like it wasn't meant to be seen. It was from a jazz lounge in Aspen. Fancy place, the kind where you'd expect velvet curtains and an overpriced wine list. The timestamp said Friday night, just after 8. I blinked. Friday night, she told me she was stuck at the office, some late design review at her firm. She'd even texted me a photo of her desk, sketches scattered everywhere. I read down the list. Oysters on the half shell. Roasted lamb with fig glaze. Champagne, Veuve Clicquot. And dessert, shared moments, duo sampler. My throat went tight. Selena doesn't eat oysters. Says the texture's like wet garbage, and she's always hated lamb. Said it made her stomach turn. And the champagne? That brand had shown up once before, in an Instagram story she took at a colleague's engagement, labeled One Day. The paper rattled a little in my hand. I stared at it for a few more seconds before folding it exactly the way I found it, sliding it back into the pocket like I hadn't touched a thing. My pulse was steady, too steady, like my body was trying to trick my brain into staying calm. I walked upstairs, her charger in my hand, and found her standing by the mirror, fixing her earring. Here you go, I said. Thank you, babe, she replied, without looking at me. Her perfume was stronger now, something new. I didn't ask about it. I just watched her pick up her phone, snap a selfie, and smile at it in a way I hadn't seen directed at me in months. Don't wait up, she said as she headed for the door. I won't, I said. The door clicked shut behind her, and the silence that followed felt like it stretched across every year we'd spent together. I sat on the couch after she left, the charger still in my hand even though there was no phone attached to it anymore. The Jazz Lounge receipt burned in my memory, not just the items or the timestamp, but the details. The oysters, the lamb, the champagne, the dessert made for two. It all clashed with everything I thought I knew about Selena. She'd always said lamb was too gamey, and oysters made her gag. I used to joke that she was one picky meal away from becoming vegetarian. So why were they on her plate now? Why was she smiling in that receipt? Because I could picture it, just like I could hear her laugh in my head, the one she didn't use with me anymore. I leaned back on the couch and stared at the ceiling. That same Friday night, I'd offered to bring her dinner at the office. I remembered the text I sent. Me, want me to bring you tacos? Her, ugh, I'll be here forever. Just eat without me. That was the night she sent a blurry photo of her workstation, sketches, rulers, some open laptop with a PDF on the screen. It didn't even register at the time that everything in that photo could have been staged. I replayed that whole night in my head. How I'd made pasta, ate alone, left her a plate in the fridge. How I stayed up, scrolling my phone, wondering if I should wait for her in bed. And then her key finally jingled in the lock a little past midnight. She kissed my forehead and said the meeting had run late. Total disaster, she'd whispered, curling up beside me like nothing was off. But it was. And now, knowing what I knew or what I suspected, that night felt like theater. The kind that starts after the curtain rises, when the actors hit their marks and no one forgets a line. I wanted to confront her, but I didn't. Not because I was afraid of what she'd say, but because I wasn't ready to hear it. Not yet. So I shoved the charger into the drawer by the TV and grabbed a beer. I watched half of some late-night game show, not really listening, and when the episode ended, I stared at the dark TV screen for a long time. I thought about all the little things I'd ignored. Her phone always face down now. The way she rushed to shower the moment she walked in the door. The unfamiliar perfume. The slightly brighter smile she wore, but only when she thought I wasn't looking. That night, when she finally came home, I was already in bed, pretending to be asleep. She leaned over to kiss my cheek like she always did. Love you, she whispered. And I whispered it back, even though something inside me was already starting to rot. Things didn't blow up after the receipt. They didn't even sizzle. That was the part that messed with me the most. How normal everything stayed. Selena kept moving through the world like nothing was different. She still left the coffee pot half full in the mornings, still draped her towel over the bedroom chair, still dropped her keys in the same ceramic dish by the door. But her smile changed. Her energy shifted. She started humming around the house again. That used to be my favorite thing, hearing her sing to herself while folding laundry or putting away groceries. But now it made me uneasy. Her mood was too light, like it had been cracked open by someone else, and I wasn't invited inside. Her phone, which used to live in the charger on the nightstand, now went everywhere with her, even into the bathroom. Always face down, always on silent. I noticed things I never cared about before, like how quickly she replied to some texts and ignored others, how she'd glance at the screen and lock it without touching it. And the perfume, that was new, sharp and floral, something expensive that I hadn't bought. I made a joke one night while she was putting on earrings before going out. Smells like someone upgraded from vanilla body spray. She laughed, but it was the kind of laugh you give a coworker who crosses a line at the office Christmas party. Light, polite, and nowhere near real. Then came the dinners. She told me she was going out with her friend Lila, girls' night, she said, and asked if I needed anything before she left. I tried to keep it casual. Where are you going? She paused for half a second. Just that little place on Colfax. You know, the Thai one. Same one you and Lila went to last time? Yeah, she said too quickly. We like it. But something about the way she avoided my eyes told me all I needed to know. Lila lives in Boulder, and she hates driving downtown. That much I remembered from a double date we went on 2 years ago where Lila spent the whole ride back complaining about traffic and parking meters. Later that night, I sat on the couch and Googled the Aspen Jazz Lounge from the receipt. It had a whole section on its website for romantic weekend pairings and private velvet booths, candlelit tables, wine flights for lovers. I clicked through photos and imagined Selena sitting there, laughing at a joke that wasn't mine, holding a hand that didn't belong to me. I didn't tell anyone. Not my brother, not my best friend, not even the guys at work who would have tried to make light of it. I just kept collecting moments, stacking them one on top of the other like bricks. Each one whispered the same thing. She wasn't here anymore. Her body was. Her voice was. But whatever warmth we used to share, that lived somewhere else now. And I was just the guy who kept pretending we were still a we. I hadn't planned on running into Lila. It just happened. One of those mundane errands that turns into something you can't unsee. It was Saturday morning, and I'd stopped by the pet store to grab more filters for our aquarium. Selena had left early for yoga and brunch, her new Saturday routine. I didn't ask who she was going with. I already knew better than to expect the truth. I was halfway to check out when I saw Lila standing in front of the dog food aisle, comparing bags of kibble. She didn't notice me at first, so I wheeled up beside her and gave a half smile. Hey, stranger. She jumped slightly, then laughed. Oh, hey. Wow, it's been forever. Yeah. How's life? I asked, casually, like my heart wasn't already hammering in my chest. We chatted a little, just normal stuff. Her dog had developed allergies. Her boyfriend had moved in. Work was a mess, but when wasn't it? Then I slid it in. So, Selena said you two had dinner the other night. Hope you went easy on the cocktails. Lila blinked. Dinner? Yeah, Thai place on Colfax? She looked confused for a second. Then her face shifted. Oh, she said slowly. That must have been a while ago. I haven't seen her in weeks. She smiled again, like it wasn't a big deal. Like she hadn't just cracked the last piece of the mask Selena wore. I nodded, smiled back, and said something about needing to get home. But I barely remember walking out of that store. My brain was buzzing so loud I almost forgot to grab the damn filter. In the car, I sat with the engine running, hands on the wheel. I thought about all the times she used Lila's name. All the excuses wrapped in familiar friendships. And all it took was one casual conversation to blow the whole thing wide open. She wasn't just lying. She was recruiting people into her fiction, dropping names and places and stories to keep the illusion going, assuming I'd never check. And for a while, I didn't. But now I had confirmation. Not just suspicion, not gut instinct. Real, spoken truth. She hadn't been with Lila. She hadn't been downtown. She hadn't been mine in a long, long time. That night, she got ready for a corporate mixer. Black heels, red lipstick, a dress I'd never seen before, tied in all the places she used to save for special occasions. I stood in the hallway, pretending to scroll my phone as she fixed her earrings in the mirror. You look nice, I said. Thanks, babe, she replied, barely glancing at me. She blew me a kiss and walked out the door, heels clicking like punctuation marks. I didn't follow. I didn't ask questions. I just stared at the door after it shut. Because the only thing more painful than being lied to is realizing how easy it's become for them. I didn't go looking for revenge. I wasn't even sure I wanted proof. But something in me, something old and quiet and worn down, needed to know I wasn't crazy. That the gut punches and quiet lies weren't just in my head. So I called Marcus. My cousin and I weren't close in the Sunday dinners and softball kind of way. But we'd shared a lot of late-night beers after our dads died. And I knew what he did for work. Corporate security, freelance investigations, light surveillance, as he called it. I didn't have to explain much. I told him I suspected something. He didn't ask for drama or detail. Just dates, places, and a recent photo. I'll keep it quiet, he promised. You'll get your answer, whatever it is. We agreed on her next overnight. She said it was a team retreat in Boulder. Some bonding weekend, she told me, tossing clothes into her bag. Her voice breezy, her eyes anywhere but on me. I nodded like it all made sense. Have fun, I said. Thanks, babe, she replied, grabbing her coffee and heading out like it was just another normal day. The silence in the condo that night felt heavier than usual. I didn't touch the TV. I didn't even eat. I just sat at the kitchen table, checking my phone like a teenager waiting for a text. Marcus didn't message until the next morning. Just one photo. No explanation. I opened it and stared. There she was, standing outside a lakefront lodge, sun catching her hair just right. She wore jeans and a soft gray sweater, casual but put together, the kind of outfit you pick when you want to be comfortable but still noticed. She wasn't alone. The man beside her had his arm around her waist. Tall, with the kind of confident posture that told me he didn't feel like the side character in her story. He was carrying her overnight bag. They were laughing. At what, I don't know. But it wasn't the nervous, polite smile Selena gave me at home. This one was loose. Free. Familiar. The next photo showed them walking into the lodge together. Not rushed. Not secretive. Just comfortable. Like they'd done this before. I stared at that screen for a long time. I thought maybe I'd feel angry, rage, betrayal, all the cliches. But what I felt was worse. Relief. I finally knew. No more guessing. No more excuses. No more gaslighting myself into thinking I was paranoid. She was gone. Not in the physical sense. Her stuff was still in our bathroom drawer, her shoes still lined up by the door. But emotionally, spiritually, she'd walked out long ago. And now, thanks to Marcus, I had the evidence. I didn't respond to his message right away. I just stood up, walked over to the kitchen sink, and poured out the cold coffee I'd forgotten to drink. Then I sat back down and started making a list. Not a dramatic one. Not some cinematic revenge plot. Just things I'd need to take care of before I left. Because I was done pretending. I didn't yell. I didn't throw her clothes onto the lawn or send the photos to everyone in her contact list. I didn't even wait up for her to come home from Boulder or Aspen or wherever the hell she really was. Instead, I started packing. Monday morning, while she was still off playing house at the lakefront lodge, I took the day off work. I moved slowly, deliberately, folding clothes into 2 bags and stacking my favorite books into a box. Just the essentials, enough to get by. The rest could rot in that condo. I didn't leave a note. I didn't know her that. But I did leave one thing. The framed photo from our trip to Maine. One of the few times we'd actually looked happy in the past year. Sat on her dresser. I turned it face down. Not shattered. Not thrown. Just reversed, like a quiet message. This is done now. Before I walked out, I placed my key on the kitchen counter, right next to the ceramic dish where we always dumped our keys and loose change. Hers were still there. Car, work, mailbox. Mine looked foreign now, like it didn't belong. The condo was spotless when I left. I even made the bed. I don't know why. Maybe it felt like I needed to do one last thing right before everything unraveled. I drove west until the city gave way to open sky. I'd booked a week at a secluded Airbnb just outside Golden, tucked along a canyon trail. I found it late one night while scrolling, not really looking for anything specific. It had a wood stove, no TV, and barely any reception. That's what sold me. When I arrived, the host wasn't home. Just a lockbox and a note with Wi-Fi instructions I didn't bother using. Inside, I dropped my bags and stood in the middle of the room. It smelled like cedar and clean linens. The kind of place you go to remember how to breathe. That night, I sat on the back deck with a blanket around my shoulders and a beer in my hand. The stars looked fake, too bright, too many, like someone had over-edited the sky. I didn't cry. I didn't even feel sad. I just sat there, alone, finally. And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, I didn't have to pretend. No more questions. No more hoping. No more decoding smiles or overthinking silence. I wasn't the man left behind anymore. I was the one who left. The first message came before noon the next day. Selena, hey babe, where are you? Thought you'd be home. Then another. Selena, did you go somewhere for work? Can you call me? I didn't answer. I stared at the screen, then turned it face down and walked outside. The canyon air was dry and cool, the silence around me broken only by birds and the crunch of my boots on the dirt trail behind the cabin. By evening, she'd sent 5 more texts and left 3 voicemails. Her tone shifted with each one, from confused to concerned, then sharp-edged and panicked. Greg, this isn't funny. Where are you? This is really immature. If you're trying to punish me for something, can we just talk like adults? Call me. Please. I didn't. Instead, I made dinner, eggs, toast, and a beer, and watched the fire crackle in the stove until I dozed off in the armchair. By the 3rd day, my phone was a war zone. She'd called my sister. She'd called my boss. She even messaged Marcus, not knowing what he knew. Then came the spin. Selena to my sister. I think Greg's having some kind of mental health crisis. He left out of nowhere. I'm really worried. Selena to a mutual friend. If you hear from him, please tell him I love him. He's been really distant lately. It was almost impressive. She moved fast, painting herself as the abandoned partner, the one blindsided by a sudden emotional spiral. A woman scorned by a man who clearly just couldn't handle life anymore. She called my mom, too. That's how I found out she was unraveling. Greg, my mom said when she finally got me on the phone. She showed up crying. Said you were missing. Said she was going to file a wellness check. She can file what she wants, I said. But I'm fine. Just not playing along anymore. My mom paused, then said, gently, what happened? I didn't tell her about the photo. I didn't need to. I just said, she lied. For a long time. After that, the messages slowed, but the stories didn't. Through friends and coworkers, I started hearing that Selena wasn't doing well. She was missing work, canceling meetings. The guy from the lodge? Nowhere to be seen. Apparently, she'd started showing up late to the office and leaving early. Someone mentioned she cried in a stairwell last week. Someone else said she was drinking more. I didn't ask for these updates, people just sent them. Each time, I said the same thing. Thanks for letting me know. And nothing more. No replies. No explanations. No rebuttals. Just silence. And in that silence, I found something that had been missing for years, control. She couldn't spin it back this time. She couldn't rewrite the ending. Because I wasn't there anymore. And for the first time, she was left to sit in the wreckage alone. 3 months passed. I stayed in that Airbnb for 2 weeks, then found a short-term rental in Netherlands, a small cabin, nothing fancy, nestled above town with a view of the trees. I told my job I was taking a sabbatical. They didn't push. I put in enough years to earn that kind of grace. I kept my phone mostly off. No social media. No email alerts. Just long mornings with black coffee, afternoons spent hiking trails that looked the same but never felt repetitive, and quiet nights writing things I hadn't said out loud. I didn't reach out to anyone from my old life, and no one pressed me. Even Marcus, who texted once to check in, kept it short. Marcus, let me know when you're ready to come back. No rush. It wasn't that I was hiding. I just needed to feel like my life belonged to me again, not shared, not shaped by someone else's shadow. From mutual friends, I started hearing whispers about Selena. She moved out of the condo, downsized to a 1-bedroom closer to her office, though no one had seen her there in weeks. She deleted her Instagram. The posts with us? Gone. The story highlights? Scrubbed clean. Even Lila, who had no idea she'd been used as an alibi, texted me an awkward, apologetic message. Lila, I didn't know what was going on. I hope you're okay. You deserve better. I didn't reply, but I appreciated it. At least someone saw through the noise. One afternoon, Marcus called. She's done, he said. Done how? The guy from Aspen. Turns out he was married. His wife found out. It blew up fast. I let that sink in, staring at the mug in my hand. She tell you that? No, Marcus said. Someone at her firm did. Word's gotten around. Nobody's taking sides. They just stopped talking to her. I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt tired. She'd wrecked her life chasing something shiny and secret. And now, she was the one left in silence. I wasn't celebrating, but I wasn't grieving either. At night, I started cooking again, real meals, not just toast and eggs. I kept a journal. Nothing poetic, just scraps of thoughts, daily reflections, half-formed memories. I found a new rhythm. I woke up with no one to impress. No lies to untangle. No energy spent trying to keep something alive that had already died. In time, peace returned. Not in a dramatic sunrise kind of way, just gradually, like fog lifting. I wasn't the man who drove away from the condo anymore. I was someone new. And for the first time in years, I liked who I was becoming. It had been almost 5 years. The condo, the jazz lounge, the lakefront lodge, they felt like scenes from someone else's movie now. Like I'd stepped out of that version of myself and left him in the past, frozen in a frame he never saw coming. I lived in Fort Collins now, working remote 3 days a week, managing a design team for a sustainable housing firm. The job fit me better, quiet, purposeful, without the undercurrent of constant pressure. I rented a place near the foothills, nothing flashy, just a cozy 2-bedroom with a wraparound porch and enough room for the life I'd built. Renee came into that life 2 years ago. She was nothing like Selena, not in looks, not in energy, not in the way she moved through the world. Renee was steady, curious. She ran a small contemporary art gallery downtown and had a habit of sending me photos of paintings she thought I'd like, usually with a caption that made me laugh out loud. She never asked for more than I could give. And somehow, that made me want to give her everything. We were standing at Owen's college graduation when it happened. It was one of those big, impersonal outdoor ceremonies, thousands of people, endless rows of plastic chairs, sweat collecting at the back of your neck no matter where you sat. Renee had insisted on wearing heels. By the second hour, she'd taken them off and was holding them by the straps, barefoot in the grass beside me. That's when I saw her. Selena. She was sitting alone, 2 sections back, clutching the program like it held her last shred of purpose. Her hair was darker now, shorter, curled around her face. She wore a neutral blazer and sunglasses that didn't quite hide the way her eyes scanned the crowd. She looked older. Not just physically, but in the way people do when life has stopped pretending to be kind. Our eyes met for just a second. Long enough. She froze. Her mouth didn't move. Her expression didn't change. But something flickered there, a recognition, a pang, maybe even a regret she'd carried for longer than she thought she would. I didn't flinch. Didn't nod. Didn't offer her anything. I just turned my head and looked at Renee. She was squinting at the stage, still barefoot, still radiant in the way only truly peaceful people can be. I smiled at her. She caught me looking and smiled back, nudging me with her shoulder. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "I really am." And I meant it. Because whatever ghost still lingered behind me, whatever wreckage, whatever history, none of it owned me anymore. I wasn't haunted by her. I wasn't defined by that version of love. I was here, present, whole. And I had built this life from the pieces she left behind.